Welcome to Prenatal Yoga. My name is Alexa Torontow. This class is suitable for all trimesters and is wonderful for improving strength, enhancing mobility, calming the body and mind, as well as preparing for the marathon of labor and delivery. As with any yoga class, I highly recommend to take it at your own pace, rest when you need, and listen closely to your body. For today, just make sure you're wearing something comfortable and that you have a blanket and a pillow nearby. And we'll get started. To start, we'll find a comfortable seated position. If you have a blanket or a pillow and want to prop yourself up for a little more comfort, you're welcome to do so. And we'll close our eyes and bring one hand to your heart and one hand to your belly, connecting with baby. And just take a couple moments to let go of any external demands, pressures, or expectations. And let yourself shift your awareness into this space. Arriving here in your body, on the mat. Connecting with both yourself and baby. Just take an inhale through the nose, filling up. And exhale out through the mouth, releasing any tension. Do that one more time. Take a deep inhale to fill. And exhale to release. Slowly opening the eyes. You can sweep your arms up and overhead. Grab onto opposite elbows. Stay really rooted through both sit bones. Extend through the spine. It's like you're pulling the frame apart, yet keeping it together. Just allowing a little bit more space throughout the rib cage, a little bit more space for baby. Just take a couple deep breaths into the sides of the rib cage. And then we'll drop the left hand down, staying on the fingertips, and we'll bring the right arm up and over. Keep both sit bones rooting equally into the ground as you lift up with the top hand. And just staying on fingertips with the bottom hand just to allow a little bit more space in the bottom rib cage. Then come back through to center. Staying rooted through the sit bones, we'll sweep the arms up, grabbing onto the opposite hold. Long spine, again, a couple deep breaths into the sides of the rib cage. Often during pregnancy, it gets really hard to breathe into the chest and into the belly. So breathing into the side of the body just allows a little more room for the breath in. And then we'll bring the right arm down, staying on fingertips, and just let the left arm come up towards the sky. Keep spiraling that top arm up and open, creating space through the collarbones. And staying grounded through the sit bones, slowly come back through to center. And we'll just take our hands to each shoulder and just take a couple shoulder circles. It's usually during pregnancy, our shoulders begin to round forward and our posture becomes out of alignment. So this is a great one to do just to open up through the collarbones. And then you can release. If you're sitting on a pillow or a blanket, just move that out of the way. We'll come into diamond shape with the legs. So bringing the feet to touch. Bringing them as far out or as close as feels comfortable in the body. And starting from the hips, we'll just take a couple circles in each direction. Slowly opening up through the back of the body, sides of the body. And then just two in the other direction. Moving really, really slowly here. Coming back to neutral. Keeping the legs where they are, we're going to get into the mid-spine, the thoracic spine. We'll bring the arms out towards the side, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Inhale here. Exhale, round the spine, hug baby in, grab onto one of the wrists and pull forward, tuck the chin, rounding the spine. Inhale, come back out to neutral, hug shoulder blades together. Exhale, grab opposite wrist, really bring the wrist forward as you round the spine, tuck the chin, hug baby in. Just one more on each side. Last one, deep inhale into the front of the lungs. Exhale, opposite wrist, really arch the back, hug baby in, pull forward. And then release. We'll make our way to tabletop position. Bringing the hands underneath the shoulders and the knees underneath the hips. And spreading the fingers really wide to take the pressure off of the wrists and grip into the fingertips as well. Keeping the toes tucked under. Take an exhale, round the spine, hug baby and really push the hands into the mat. Really ground here, spread the shoulder blades apart. And as you inhale, just come back to a neutral spine. Exhale, push into the mat, round the spine, hug baby in. Inhale, relaxing, softening, coming back to a neutral tabletop. And taking a few more of those on your own time, matching the length of the movement with the length of the breath. And the reason on the inhale that we don't drop the belly like we typically do in non-prenatal yoga, it creates a lot of pressure on the low back when we just let the belly drop. So we're just coming back to a neutral tabletop on the inhales. Take one more here. Exhale to round. Inhale back to neutral. Then walk the knees back just about half a foot. We'll make some circles with the hips. So bring the left hip over to the left wrist, then over to the right, and then back towards the right ankle. Just warming up through the hips. These circles can be as big or as little as you'd like, and as fast or as slow. And if there's ever a point in the practice where you want to just pause and breathe into that space, if there's a lot of tension, feel free to do so. We'll just do the other direction. And the reason we won't be doing any long holds today is during pregnancy, the hormones that are increased make the ligaments and the tendons more flexible. So we're not going to hold anything too long just to not overstretch the joints. So we'll always make some little micro movements even as we hold the poses. And we'll come back to a neutral tabletop. Bringing the knees back underneath the hips. Tucking the right toe under. We're going to extend the left leg back. If any props, you can just move them out of the way. Extending the left leg back. Bringing the right arm forward. And keep the fingers and toes active as you lift here. And if this is too much, you can always bring the hand or the knee back down to the ground. And make sure the foot that's lifted, make sure the pinky toe is facing down towards the ground, squaring through the hips, taking the pressure off the low back. Take an inhale to lengthen here. Exhale, bring the elbow and knee towards baby. Super slowly, inhale to reach long. Exhale towards baby. Last one, inhale to lengthen, reaching. Exhale towards center. Slowly bring the hand and knee back down to the ground. Take one exhale here, round the spine, tuck the chin. Inhale back to neutral. So we'll do the same thing on the other side. Keep the left toe tucked, bring the right leg back. Option to bring the left arm forward. Again, if it's too much, just keep the hand or knee back down to the ground. Lifting here, make sure the pinky toe is facing towards the earth. Fingers and toes active. Take an inhale to lengthen. Exhale towards baby, towards center. Inhale to reach long. Exhale to center. Last one, inhale here. Exhale to center. Bring the hand and knee back down to the ground. Just bring the left shoulder to the left hip, right shoulder to right hip, just rinsing out the side of the body. Just releasing any tension. Coming back to neutral. You can bring the hands a little bit further forward. And then really slowly, we'll bring the right leg around the belly to the front of the mat. So two options here. If keeping the foot straight is too much, you can always come onto the outside edge of that right foot. And staying up on fingertips, again, creating a little bit more space through the front side of the body, through the collarbones and the lungs. And just coming into a low lunge position here. And if this is too much to stay still, and if you want to make little movements, you can always rock side to side or rock back and forth, or just make those little micro movements, just releasing tension from the hips. And then if the foot is on the outside edge, plant it back on the ground, toes facing the front. And then really slowly, we're going to walk our fingertips back, bringing the hips towards the heels and flex that front foot, toes towards the shin. And keeping a generous bend in the front leg here and gently reaching the hips back towards the back heel. Just a couple breaths here, long spine. Again, keeping as much of a bend in the knee as you need. And we're just going to move back and forth between the two at your own pace, just gently coming forward back to that low lunge position just for a moment. Then back to the hamstring stretch. You can just find this rhythm, again, on your own pace. If you have any low back pain, this one is a really great movement to do. When the hamstrings are tight, it's one of the causes of low back pain, especially in pregnancy. So any stretches like this that just stretch through the back of the body, back of the legs, will really help relieve some low back pain. Then planting the foot, bringing the hands back down to the ground. Just really carefully inch that front foot out, gently bringing it around to the back, coming back to a tabletop position. Taking one exhale here around the spine, tuck the chin. Inhale back to neutral. So do the same thing on the other side. Tuck the right toe. Just really slowly bring the left foot up towards the top of the mat, inching it towards the front. Coming up onto fingertips. Either left toes face the front, or if it's more comfortable, come to the outside edge of that left foot. And if the ground is really far away, if you want to bring a pillow or some blankets underneath the hands, that'll help bring the ground a little bit closer and make the pose a little more accessible. And if you're on the outside edge of that left foot, just keep the toes flexed towards the shin, just protecting the knee joint. And take a couple really deep and nourishing breaths here to where you feel the most tension in the body. And then gently, left foot faces the front. Really slowly walking the fingertips back. Flex the left foot. Again, generous bend into that left leg if you need. Draw the hips back towards the heel. You can always walk the fingertips forward a little bit. Just make some micro adjustments to find where you feel the most space within the body. And if you're at the end of your pregnancy, if your belly's in the way, you can always just inch that left foot out a little more to the side just to allow a little bit more space for baby. And we'll come back and forth between the two, coming to your low lunge. Back to the hamstring stretch and just moving at your own pace. And planting the left foot back onto the ground, hands to the earth. Gently bring that left foot out and around the body back to a neutral tabletop. Once again, exhale, round the spine, tuck the chin, hug baby in. Inhale to neutral. Tuck the toes under and really slowly walk yourself back onto the toes. Just make sure all the toes are tucked under. And you can bring your hands to your thighs. Always option to bring hands to baby. Just allow the eyes to close. Just take a few deep breaths here. Just keep relaxing the face, relaxing the shoulders away from the ears. Combing through any tension with the breath. And gently release. You can bring the eyes open, hands back to the ground. You can just make some sound with the tops of the feet. Just releasing any built up tension there. And then we'll bring the hands back down to the ground. Make sure they're underneath the shoulders. And once again, we're going to swing that right foot around the belly to the front of the mat. Right foot facing forward. We'll tuck the left toe under, bringing the knee off of the mat and spiraling the back foot down. And then with the support of your leg, using your hands, just slowly bring yourself up to warrior two, really gently. And then we'll sweep the arms open, bending into that front leg. Really grounding down through the outside edge of the back foot. If this is too much on the shoulders, you can always just bring the hands up towards the sky, taking pressure off of the shoulders. This pose is really great for building up strength for labor and delivery, strengthening through the legs, through the glutes. And then keeping the legs where they are, bring the back hand to the back leg, and we'll bring the top arm just up towards the sky. Always option to bring hand to baby, connecting with baby. Then coming back through to warrior two, bring the front arm onto the thigh, bring the other arm up and over. And really pushing that front arm into the leg to create a little bit more space through that rib cage. And just coming back and forth between the two, keeping the legs where they are, strong and steady, and upper body just flowing. Coming back and forth. Then coming back to warrior two, breathing here for 3. For 2 and 1, bring the hands to the hips, straighten through that front leg. Gently walk the foot in, and we'll just switch to the other side. Grounding down through both feet equally, bending into the leg, sweeping the arms up. Really from the pelvis down, really ground down through the legs, really strong and steady with the feet. And taking any option with the arms. And we'll bring the back arm, back leg, bring the other arm up towards the sky. And always option to bring hand to baby. And we'll come back through to warrior two, bring the other forearm to the thigh. You can just sweep the other arm up and over. Again, pressing that form into the thigh, creating space through the rib cage. Then back and forth between the two, moving at your own pace. And coming back to warrior 2, breathing here for 3. Maybe sinking a little bit deeper into the leg for 2. And 1, straighten through the leg, hands to the hips, walk the toe in. This time we'll bring the heels out, or heels in, toes out. Bring the shoulders down and back, hands to the hips. Take an inhale, lengthen through the spine here. Bring the hands to the hips, shoulders down and back. Lengthening through the spine. Then as you exhale, bending into the legs. And if you are near the end of your pregnancy, and if your baby is breech or transverse or pretty much any position that's not head down, just ease out of the squat a little bit. If you're early in your pregnancy or you know your baby is head down, you can come a little bit lower. This position just helps lock baby into position, so it's good just to be careful depending on the way your baby is in this moment. Then take an inhale, bring the arms up. Really grounding through the feet here, grounding through the heels. Again, always option to bring hands to baby. And if it feels better just to stay here in this position, strengthening through the legs and the glutes. Again, a really great position for preparing for the marathon of labor and delivery. Or you can always make little squat movements or move side to side. Especially in prenatal yoga, it's just really important to take the time to figure out what feels best in your body. Sometimes it feels best to stay perfectly still. Sometimes it feels nice to rock and move. So just don't think too much about it. Just do whatever your body's calling for today. Just breathing here for 3, for 2, and 1. Bring the hands to the hips, straighten through the legs. Deep inhale through the nose. And just exhale out through the mouth. And we'll bring the toes in. Bring the heels slightly out. Generous bend in the legs as we fold forward. You can bring the hands to the elbows again. Just let the head drop and just sway side to side. Upper body swaying. Bending one leg then the other. Then releasing the hands to the ground. If it's okay for you to move to the ground, transitioning through yogi squat, through malasana, you can do that. If not, just come to the ground any way that feels comfortable. And we'll meet back onto the mat. You can bring your legs out in front. You can just shake out the legs a little bit if there's any tension. And we'll keep the right leg extended, bringing the left foot up and over top of the thigh. Come onto the fingertips behind you. Flex the top foot, toes towards the shin. Let the knee draw out to the side. You can already feel it here in the outside of the hip. You can stay here. If you need a little bit more, you can begin to bring the bottom foot up onto the mat. You can reverse the grip of your hands. It might feel better to bring the fingers out towards the back of the mat. Roll the shoulders down and back. So keep flexing the toes towards the shin as you draw the knee out towards the side. And if you need it to be more intense, you can keep walking the bottom foot in towards the body and keep drawing the top knee out. This really gets into the piriformis. This muscle, a lot of nerves that cause sciatica and the sharp shooting pain down the legs, it's partly due to the piriformis muscle getting very tight because that's where a lot of the nerves run through. So this is a great pose to do every day for a couple minutes, especially if you have that sharp shooting pain down the legs. Then we'll release, gently bring your foot down to the mat and just bring the knees side to side. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. Start with extending the opposite leg out and bring the ankle over top. And toes flexing towards the shin, knee draws out. This might be more than enough if your hips are really tight. If not, come onto the fingertips and you can slowly start bringing the foot towards you. Keep drawing the top knee out towards the side. Keep flexing the toes. Piriform stretch on the other side. And keep the jaw relaxed, face relaxed here. Just take a few deep breaths. And gently release. We'll bring the foot onto the ground. And just coming side to side, just releasing the low back here. And then gently we'll roll over onto our side, just making our way down to the ground, just really, really slowly. If you have a blanket or pillow nearby, you can always bring the pillow between the legs or underneath your head, just getting as comfortable as possible. You can allow the eyes to close. Maybe bringing the top hand to baby. And just taking a moment to thank yourself for creating this space for yourself to connect with both yourself and for baby. Just take a couple more nourishing breaths in here. And gently removing the pillow if you have. Just really gently making your way back to any seated position. And once again, allowing the eyes to close, bringing one hand to your heart and one hand to baby. Take a deep inhale, lengthening through the spine, crown of the head towards the ceiling. And just taking a sweet inhale in here. And then exhale, send the breath from the crown of the head down along the spine, moving through baby into your seat, into the ground, the earth below you. Just feeling rooted, grounded, and connected. Thank you so, so much for taking this time for yourself and your practice. Namaste. Hey mamas, hope you enjoyed that class. If you're looking for some more information on labor and delivery prep or some natural relief for the most common pregnancy symptoms, you can visit my website at alexatorontow.com. I write a lot about that there. And if you have any questions, you can leave a comment here or you can message me through my website.